Okay, so today's challenge may be fun for you, or it may be really irritating. I'm not sure. We'll find out. You're welcome to tell me in the comments on Instagram. I guess I do post it to Facebook, but I don't usually check there. Okay, so today's challenge is actually stay 17. Yeah, stay 17. And I love these rear view cameras, they're lovely. The question is, or challenge, is what are my political pet peeves? This could be anywhere, like, there's lots of options, obviously. Because whether your political leanings, sorry about that. Whether your political leanings are very conservative or very liberal, or a combination of the two, which I think is typically a little bit more human, because I can have great compassion for people and still wish that the law had boundaries for them. Actually, watch political stuff from both sides. I get emails from both sides. A very, very politically polar country that I live in, and I love history and I love government. I really, really like to understand why someone does something I disagree with. And what's really interesting is, as I have personally listened and learned and studied, there are things that I really used to disagree with that I agree with now. And there are things that I used to agree with and think that were super benign that I'm like, oh, that's a really, really bad idea. And politics are just an interesting thing. I think it's really important for us to break it down, to navigate that world by saying, why do I think that? Because we have a lot of propaganda we didn't realize we just picked up because we watched a TV show and our subconscious has zero filter. And so when you have no filter, then you're just going to pick things up with having zero idea why. And my brother-in-law taught political science at a liberal arts college, and he actually used a lot of pop culture things like movies to explain and help people go, wow, I didn't realize I was learning this from this, what I thought was a benign childhood cartoon, you know? And I love fixing my seatbelt. But it is cool. It's worth it. Anyway, sorry. My seatbelt is just like super annoying with the microphone today. So you're going to get like, which I don't have to tell you because you already got it. Let's see. Oh, I took History of Civilization honors when I was in college, 2 semesters of it. And the professor, he used books that were written in those time periods to help us understand the politics of those days, like Dante's Inferno. I, at the time, had no idea it was written about people who were alive at the time. Because by the time I read it, obviously, it was like a couple hundred years later, they were all dead. So I didn't it just didn't compute until my teacher was like, these people are alive and this is where they are. So he's sitting here saying where the Pope, the Prime Minister, members of Parliament, these very, very prominent members, what part of hell they belonged in. Talk about political statements. So, like, you can say a lot in fiction. And he did. And so we read things like Dante's Inferno and Paragorio and The Prince and Utopia, Gulliver's Travels, St. Augustine, who wrote In Circles. Oh, I hate his book. So I think he deliberately tried to make people feel like they were stupid, so they would just blindly trust their religious leaders, which is kind of annoying, like a lot. I don't know. I disagree with that. I like people to be educated, be able to make their own decisions. So, right there, that's a political pet peeve. He used religious text to have, in very many ways, a political hold over the people around him so that people would go, oh, you're so smart. I'm so dumb. That's really obnoxious to me. So it's a pet peeve. So when you're writing your list, it is not necessarily limited to one thing or another. You get to choose what are things that are pet peeves. This could be, I very much consider medicine political. I have some very strong political pet peeves because they have affected my family. I have a child who had these symptoms of encephalitis, but because of the um, biases around what happened, they're like, oh, that's normal. No, it's not normal. Most children who have encephalitis symptoms go straight to the emergency room in order to get that pressure off of their brain. And I'm very grateful that my first child survived that. So, and I was absolutely embroiled in political, the depths of the political system on that one is just so deep that it took me 4 years of intense research to realize it, because I even believed that they were telling me the truth. That's what propaganda does. And so when you write down things, you're taking out the trash, but you're also starting to use your brain in a way that in homeschoolers is normal, but we public schoolers, critical thinking is actually something we get shut down in public school. It is one of the things that my friends who are teachers are like, man, I wish I could teach the kind of critical thinking and creativity that you do, but it's just impossible in a public school setting. And these are like first grade, second grade teachers. They're not even high school, and they're like, we're already killing these kids' creativity and critical thinking because they just have so much they need to get out and feedback that they need to get that they just can't. They can't foster that environment. That's difficult. So then there's other political things, obviously, around school systems. But when you start to write your list, you will start the critical thinking process. And when you start the critical thinking process, watch out, because all of a sudden you're going to see contradictions. You're going to see, like, if a child needs a high fat diet for brain development, adults need high fat diets for brain function. Like, that's just logic right there. But that took me 16 years to unwind. I was 16 years into my research before that very obvious statement became a reality, you know? Anyway, so I'm at my destination and I'm being guided by the sun. Go write your list, and I would love your feedback on if there was something that you were like, whoa, I didn't even realize I believed that. I'm so glad this helped me point it out. So we'll talk to you soon.